Excellent. So, special products.
All right.
All right. So I like to organize the special products by, first, the guys that use glycine. All right?
That makes heme.
Excellent. That's our first one. Woo. All right. So, heme. All right. Heme. That is a tie for heme. All right. Heme, like him. All right. I was pressed that day, I'm telling you. All right. So for this one, I'm going to have product right here. And then I'm going to have parts down here. Okay? And at least for me, it made sense in my head to break them up as picture things because it just felt like too much was going on to like sort it properly without it. So, to make heme, where do we find heme really quick?
In the blood.
In the blood, and moving in a little bit more, that's true.
Oh yeah, red blood cells.
Red blood cells, and it is made in the liver, so very good. All right, so, and heme is part of what eventually is hemoglobin. So it's the, the heme part of hemoglobin. All right, so for this guy, this is my rendition of a beautiful glider, okay? And for this one, and it's been a bit, so I'm going to pull it up to make sure that I get it right for you guys, but I'm pretty sure this one has just the glycine. Yeah, this one does. Sorry? Oh, that's a glider. So we're going to be seeing a lot of the glider. Really, the first three things that we're looking at, though, are all glycine. And so the glider is going to be in all of them. And there you go.
Glider like a
hang glider.
Like hang glider.
Oh yeah, the 3 glider soaring, right?
Oh, is that from Avatar?
Yes.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah, 3 gliders soaring.
Yes. Gliders come around. All right, let's see.
Is the soaring the steering? I was confused about that.
Huh?
I was confused with my notes. Was soaring the steering?
Yes, soaring was serine.
Okay.
And then was there like the tripping over an AC unit?
The AC unit is tripping, meaning it's braking, which means tryptophan.
Oh, okay, because I forgot that, and I actually thought that the glider is just gliding because he tripped over the AC unit on the building. So it's like,
Well, tryptophan's in there somewhere. All right, so just make sure that I can look at this stuff if I need to. All right, anyway, next we have purines. So for purines, how do you remember which nucleic acids, and this will be useful for your next stuff because you're hitting nucleic acids next. How do you know which nucleic acids are purines and which ones are pyrimidines?
9. It has 9. The 9 have pure 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pure as gold. It's like, yeah, there's, I think 2 has.
Oh, how do you do with rings, right?
Yes, purines have 2 rings,
Yeah.
and pyrimidines,
One
wait,
ring.
sorry, hang on.
Wait,
Yeah,
no.
purines have 2 rings, pyrimidines have 1,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay. Pure as 2 gold rings.
Awesome,
Or
good.
just pure as gold.
Pure as gold, or I learned a very similar thing, keep the one you have. For those who want something, take one of those, or all girls are pure, which is the one that I heard in undergrad. And so, purine. Okay? And all adenosine, girls, guanine, are pure purines. That's how that works, by the way. And so nucleic acids besides A and G, so all girls, there's also the other 2 that are pyrimidines, which are, you'll get that one in a couple weeks. That's right, you haven't had that yet. So, pyrimidines, so you have A and G, so then it would be C and T. So, yeah. Okay, so purines. For this one, you have a glider. And this time, this glider is working overtime because it's got a donkey on it. Okay? Yes, we like donkeys. So, this donkey represents aspartate. If it was asparagine, there would be 2 donkeys. that has 2 nitrogens on it. So there's only one. This is aspartate, okay? And I'll write beneath here what we're doing because it's like, where the heck are we going? I have no idea. Thank you for the Never Never Land trip, but I'd like to come home now. Aspartate.
Sorry, what was the girl's thing for?
Purines.
Okay,
So,
she's pure, okay.
heme, purines. All right. So you have the donkey, you have the glider, and then you have a huge, not a small, a huge mound of glue on the back of the donkey. That means glutamine. If it was a tiny bit of glue, then it would be glutamate. This is a lot of glue, this poor donkey. I have no sympathy for you, donkey, I know. All right. So, yeah, glycine, aspartate, and glutamine. And I find that when we're doing pictures like this, that I am not able to draw in a super, I know what that picture way is. If you close your eyes and see your own rendition of the picture, it makes it much more memorable, and just see the glider, and then see the next one, and then keep on going down. All right. Next, we have, this should be creatine. All right. Who lost his donkey? Pirate. Pirate lost his donkey. Oh my gosh, that is not a pirate. Alright. Alright, he's just gonna... There's a hook for a hand. There's our pirate. Hello. And he has an eye patch. Alright. So this is going to be glycine, and then this is going to be arginine. Okay? And for the picture here, creatine to me has always been a steak with a tine from a fork in it. And for those of you who were not here for this ridiculous stretch of the imagination last time, a fork has 4 little bits, little prongs on it. If you break one of those off, that is called a tine. And so we're sticking one of those into here, creatine, or you can just, you know, remember, hey, pirates like creatine because they work out and stuff. I don't know. So, taking you on this grand adventure with me. All right. So, those are the 3 critical ones with glycine. Creatine is used in the muscles for energy. Purines are used in DNA, and so I'll just put in parentheses up. I don't know if you really need more stuff gunking it up, but for those, if you don't know what they do, then go ahead and jot it down maybe. I don't know. So, muscle energy. And it's not very much. It's like super secondary. Purines are for ribonucleic acid of any kind, so DNA or RNA. And heme is for, well, hemoglobin. And of these guys, the heme will eventually talk about how the pathway goes, if we want to dive into the pathway, but that's a pathway that I'd be somewhat familiar with. The really quick version is that you take succinyl-CoA plus glycine. So, succinyl, that's a sucker. All right. Succinyl-CoA plus glycine. And then you use ALA twice. It's an enzyme. And then you have a whole bunch of, and if you're using ALA synthase, which is what this is, if you're using ALA synthase, what do you think our product's going to be?
Wait, what's
You can just call it ALA.
Okay. What is ALA?
ALA, that's a great question. I dumped that.
That's fine.
So, it's going to be, I actually think that would be good for you to know so you can recognize it on a quiz, so let's pull that. That's going to be down, not up. All right. Succinyl CoA. Here it is. Okay. No, I don't think she will actually have that. She'll just call it ALA. It's aminolevulinate.
So it's ALA
Levulinate.
synthase?
Yes, ALA synthase.
ALA.
And
ALA.
ALA is right here. ALA synthase. So you use the same enzyme on it twice,
Okay.
and it acts in two different places.
So you have ALA synthase acting on ALA, and then you have ALA, and then you have another ALA synthase.
So you have succinyl CoA and glycine. Those molecules come in together, and then ALA synthase puts them together, and then it does one other change too.
Okay.
And then that gives you ALA, alpha linolenate or whatever the heck it is. It's not linolenate, that's an omega. Aminolevulinate, there we go. And the reason that you care about this is that this is where you're going to get porphyrias. So ALA will eventually be, the next step is to turn ALA into a porphyrin ring, which I would like to give you an example because I was like, what the freaking heck is a porphyrin ring? All right, if you look at this slide really quick, you see this ring structure thing going on here. So I think this one's a porphyrin ring. It might be the whole thing. I don't remember if you have one or four, but is it a special ring structure that is used in heme? I think that there's 4 of them that you're seeing there, but I'm not positive. But that is called a porphyrin ring, and in order to get it to look just like heme, you have to tweak it like 6 times. And depending on which step is broken, you get a different disease. And so we call those porphyrias because you have the porphyrin ring all jacked up.
So if you can't make those rings, you have some type of porphyria.
Porphyria, yes, which is a category of disease. Good? Yes, sideroblastic anemia is something that can happen. That's exactly what we're hitting next, is right here. So this is kind of a disease-heavy place. If ALA is not working, and you don't have the cofactors, you can have sideroblastic anemia. Okay? So disease area 1, disease area 2. Go for it.
ALA, the first one, you have something right there and I can't read it.
Oh, both of these are synthase.
Oh, synthesis? Okay.
Yeah. Go for it.
So the first ALA uses PLP, but what about the second one? Does it still require PLP?
I would imagine so, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It looks like it just shows it for the first one, and they're usually pretty detailed on these, so I would go with just the first one. That would be a seriously wicked question.
Where do you see it? I don't even see it on it.
Pyridoxal phosphate, right here.
Oh, okay.
PLP.
Yeah.
PLP.
And what about?
Sideroblastic anemia is if you have issues making ALA, porphyrias of various types, if you have issues making the porphyrin ring, which comes after ALA. So we got before ALA, we got after ALA.
The ring structure.
Yes, porphyrin ring structure. If you can't make that, then we call it porphyria. And you will learn more of those in the future. Anything I can do. Spread joy. All right.
Is it whenever we have PLP, there's always a B6 for that?
PLP, B6, those are the same thing, actually. PLP is a version of B6, and so that is a very true statement. And incidentally, this right here, while we're on B6, and we're kind of doing broad spectrum review, this is the reason when you were memorizing your B vitamins, you have sideroblastic anemia if you have B6 deficiency, and that's because you use B6, PLP, right here. So cofactors are in parentheses.
Okay.
All right.
Do they have to know like that a ammonia group is cleaved off when you're making the heme group when you're
No.
no? Okay, whatever. I'm going too deep. Yeah.
The PLP was just deep enough. That's the
Alright.
right amount of deep. Deeper than that is too deep.
Yeah, she said like need to know, very important that there are 4 porphyrin rings
Okay.
Oh,
on
good.
this slide, and that you need to know porphyrias, or that can induce neurological symptoms and photosensitivity. Like she said, know that.
Okay, good deal. Well, now we know that there's 4. Thank you for that.
Oh, and I think that it starts with succinyl-CoA, like he said, and
Yes.
glycine is super important. So that's
Yeah.
like everything. You need to
Those
know.
2 go together. All right. So I think I'm learning that I cannot briefly touch any subject. That is what I'm being taught, because it's
Yeah.
like
You're
I do.
very thorough.
It's good.
All right. So that was heme synthesis. All right. Next, what are the other? Actually, really quick, go ahead and let's try and retain. Close your eyes, look away, whatever you like doing, and see if you can remember what are the 3 products. What do they have in common? For the 3 special products we've done so far, what are they? And then what does it take to make them?
What was on the ass that makes glutamine?
Glue.
Yep,
A lot
a
of it.
huge pile of glue.
Oh, glue.
Yes.
Okay, I missed that. Need that. Thank you.
Why is that in the 3rd ALA that's not locked written there, just the deductive of porphyrin that comes after ALA? Is that why that's written there?
This is the molecule that is made. It's called ALA. And then porphyrias come after. Anything after ALA would be considered a porphyria if it was jacked up. And a porphyrin ring, precursor, if it wasn't jacked up. That's beautiful. Careful, I might give you the marker.
No.
Please come up and draw.
I'm like Vanna White assistant.
Yes. All right. So next we have some other special products. So we are going to next do neurotransmitters as a group. So we have catecholamines. Who can list a couple catecholamines? What are catecholamines?
Regulate heart
That's true.
Okay.
stuff.
What is one really well-known catecholamine? It's the one that you have a pen for. Epi.
Epinephrine.
Yes, epinephrine, norepinephrine. Those are catecholamines. Okay? So catecholamines, you will want to know how to make epi and norepi and what they come from.
So they're adrenergic.
Adrenergic is one of the types of catecholamines. Yes, that's a subcategory of catecholamine.
Phenylalanine. Tyrosine?
Tyrosine and phenylalanine, because that goes to tyrosine. Excellent. All right. So we have phenylalanine. Debating whether to throw more pictures up here or to be.
Oh, is that the tire with the funnel on it?
Yes, it is the tire and the funnel. All right. Have to do it now. All right. So funnel or phenylalanine. Then you have the tire. And then you have a dunce cap because it is L-dopa to dopa. All right, so this is L-dopa to dopa. And then notice here how it is L-dopa first on the left-hand side, and then dopa. Why is there an E? Okay. L-dopa to dopa. Notice that there's a prefix of sorts on this one. Similar thing for, it goes nor-epi to epi. So L-dopa to dopa, nor-epi to epi, and that's how I remember which one comes first in the pathway. And that is the cascade that you'd be expected to remember. Phenylalanine, tyrosine, L-dopa, dopa, norepi, epi. And so you got your funnel, your tire, your 2 dopey caps, and then norepi and epi. With the nor coming first, just like the L came first, and then the one that doesn't have a prefix coming next. Okay. Besides that, the other neurotransmitter, which is what we're doing, so that's neurotransmitter family 1, neurotransmitter family 2, is going to be making GABA. First letter of GABA should tell you what this guy comes from. Glutamate. All right. So this one I just remember because G means glutamate. That's where it comes from. We're good. Glutamate's the star. If you're ever like G something, go with glutamate or maybe glutamine. That family is just everywhere.
They're like the Kardashians.
Oh no. All right.
JK.
And all right. So next we also have the tryptophan. All right. So tryptophan can become 2 things: serotonin and melatonin.
And B3.
And B3, niacin. We may as well throw that up. It's important. Niacin. It's not a neurotransmitter, but I mean, you can stick it there. So tryptophan, the way that I remember this one is tryptophan and melatonin. Melatonin, sleepy, Thanksgiving dinner, sleepy. And so tryptophan is in turkey. Oh, this has more steps than I thought it did, but that's how I remember it. So.
You said sweet dreams.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sweet dreams.
Melatonin. So
Sweet dreams, melatonin.
Sweet and melatonin dreams, sweet dreams.
Excellent.
B3.
Glad that's being
So what's
retained.
that last word under melatonin?
Niacin.
B3.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That one's not a neurotransmitter, but it's there.
And then
So.
the way how I remember tryptophan is a turkey's tail feather.
Mhm.
So like just the tail feather, tryptophan. Yeah, the fan.
Oh, yeah, the fan on the back. Excellent. Tryptophan on the turkey. Fantastic. All right, and sweet dreams, melatonin. All right. After that, so those guys are the neurotransmitters. So we so far have had glycine guys, we have neurotransmitter guys, and then next, there's a couple that just come from arginine or histamine, and they're just really straightforward ones that I just had the pirate fighting the snake, and there you go. All right, so there's the snake. Here's the pirate.
Wow, I can't pronounce it.
That's a hook. All right. We have a what do you call it? Dyslexic hook because it goes the other way. All right. That doesn't matter. That's just me drawing. All right. This one is just going to remind you histidine becomes histamine, and it's his. That's what's going on here. And honestly, in the name, it's pretty straightforward. Over here, the pirate has 2 things coming out. There is, how many of you remember those toys called Polly Pocket?
Yes.
All right, so we have a tiny Polly Pocket who is holding up a DNA helix. So this is Polly Pocket, and she is holding up a DNA helix because she's so smart. It's Polly Pocket Science Edition, and these are polyamine. These are polyamines, and the DNA is what they do. So they modulate DNA. Okay?
So Polly Pocket
Yep.
is holding
For-
up DNA.
Yep, so poly for Polly Pocket, polyamines, DNA for what it does. So it affects DNA regulation. All right, the other thing for the pirate is he's going to be saying this next one. The pirate fights the snake and he immediately says, no, no, because he's scared of snakes, I guess. No, my worst nemesis, a gloopy looking snake. And nitric oxide, yeah. All right, so this is how I at least remembered the special products. Hopefully this is what you were looking for. This was a little bit of memory with a little bit of understanding tied in. What are questions on understanding? Juliana?
So the polyamine is made from histamine?
The histamine is made from histidine.
Because I have here that arginine makes nitric oxide and polyamine.
Yes, so arginine makes these two.
Arginine is this guy, okay.
Yeah, the
Arginine. Sorry, sometimes I forget not everyone speaks hieroglyphic.
Always type arginine.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
That was actually one that I got in undergrad from an awesome professor.
Carnosine is made from histidine.
It is also. That one, you can have the snake riding on a car. I sometimes forget which one she wants you to know. Does she want you to know carnosine? Does that sound familiar? I mean,
No, doesn't sound, but it would be.
it is from that though. So,
I'll just know it.
yeah,
Oh, wait,
I mean,
oh, wait,
it's up there now.
Wait, it was, you skipped it. Can you go back to that?
So it is up there.
That is.
Okay, carnosine. So it is an invisible car.
Carnosine. Aha!
And so carnosine. So those are the two things from, so there's two from each,
So wait, histidine gives you carnosine and histamine.
depending on how you work with it, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, Kat, did I see a question?
Rolling hair.
Rolling hair.
Yep.
Okay,
Nervous tick.
gotcha.
I'm fine.
Is that why it's so nice and
Oh yeah.
And wavy.
I'm really
All right.
I'm a nervous wreck all the time.
excellent. Everyone will be doing it. So, yeah, so I would recommend quick review, and then we'll move to another topic really quick. So go ahead and see if you can remember, what are the neurotransmitters? Make that nice little horseshoe shape. And then moving on to the part 2 neurotransmitters when you get there. You might still be going through a horseshoe shape, that's fine. Alright, so go ahead and double check yourself on those ones, and then we'll hit the last ones. So for that, it should be phenylalanine, tyrosine, L-DOPA, and DOPA. So you have the hats, and then it goes norepi and epi. And so you have the prefixes going together. And then for the next one, try to remember what you're looking for first. So there's Gaba, and then there's Sweet Dreams. All right, Sweet Dreams melatonin. Sorry. Alright, and then when you're done with neurotransmitters, move to the next pair and try and pull those up. To start with, see the pictures. There's a snake fighting a pirate. There's two things from the snake, two things from the pirate. Alright. From the snake, we have histamine from histidine, and his is why they're linked together because of a snake. And then you also have carnosine. You can be, people don't want to be seen around a giant snake, I guess. That works.
Oh, I got one. So you know those car places where you can buy a car and they have like the giant gorilla that's inflatable? Instead of a gorilla, it's a snake. So
oh,
giant
excellent. So this
inflatable.
is a used car salesman.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Fate worse than death. All right. Next, we have the pirate. Two things from that. What do those mean? All right. So those are going to be polypocket with the amines, and then no. All right. Hopefully this was helpful. I know this was more memory than like grinding into details. Sometimes we do one, sometimes we do the other. Question?
Asking about the polyamine at the bottom, what is that on that? What is that picture?
It's a polypocket holding a DNA helix.
Yeah, okay.
So it's Little Miss Science Polypocket. So 4th edition. All right. I don't know if those things are collected or what, but there you go. All right, and then it's polyamines and they modulate DNA. Okay, so we've done some memory stuff. Let's go back to some understanding stuff. What are some general, like what questions do you feel like you have about why things work, how things work, and that sort of a thing to try and get, we have memory, now let's get a little bit of concepts. Unless everyone feels good there.
I have a question.
What's up?
For this one that we did,
Okay, so this is the Tca cycle, taking in all the carbon skeletons.
yeah, so this means that this something is this, or
So on this one, so with the M3, with the GAHAP M3 IV, and then the tire and the funnel and all those pictures that we did for those who are here on the carbon skeletons being broken down into the Tca cycle, each of the boxes should lead to a Tca cycle intermediate, and that means that all those amino acids in that box can become whatever that intermediate is. For example, GAHAP, all of those can become alpha-ketoglutarate. And so then you know, alpha-ketoglutarate, that means that number one, it's glucogenic. Number two, yeah, it goes to alpha-ketoglutarate. And then you can think about other nerdy things if you want more than two
so
things.
it's kind of more memorization tool.
Yes, this is organized as a memorization tool.
How can she ask about
She might ask something like, could you make glucose out of such and such amino acid? Pretty much all the ones we talked about there, you can. There were a couple that go to acetoacetate. And leucine and lysine sounds right.
For sure,
Leucine for sure.
is only pure ketogenic.
Okay.
No,
There are two.
yeah, no,
There
it's
are two.
lysine and leucine. That's
Okay.
pure ketogenic. And then threonine is above.
Yeah, she. Oh. She had a lysine on.
Yeah, and she
on
said
both,
to not
and she
do
moved
that
it back.
because
That's
all of
right.
those say that
That's
blah, blah,
right.
blah. Yeah.
I know that.
But wait, what was
Okay, no, that's right. So
So yes, that is actually when you're doing, so the question was, is there a good way to remember cofactors in general? Like what goes where? With that, you named one of the really good ones, B6. It's easier to memorize it with the vitamin than it is in the pathway. If you memorize it with the vitamin, then it's B6. Whenever there's a transamination, you just throw PLP in there somewhere. And then you only have to memorize the exceptions when you're going through the pathway. Another one is carboxylation, which is Biochem. And so whenever you're adding carbons to something, there's going to be a B7 around somewhere.
Is it any kind of carboxylation or when CO2 is used as the carbon source? That's what I didn't know.
So it's, that's a really good question. It is most carboxylations, and I don't know about the carbon source off the top of my head if there's a rule following the carbon source. And
dehydrogenases need NAD or NADH?
yes, dehydrogenases need either B2 or B3 because FADH and NADH, they both have, well, H2 for FADH2, but those are the guys that can give and receive hydrogen. So whenever you're doing dehydrogenases, it's going to be a B3. Let's see.
So in some of the things that she just has the arrow going both ways and she just has dehydrogenase out to the side, dehydrogenase only goes one direction, right?
Most dehydrogenases can go both directions. They're named after one direction. They're named after the taking it off direction, but they can put it back on.
Glutamate dehydrogenase.
So when
Exactly. Glutamate dehydrogenase can go both ways.
So if you're going from glutamate to alpha-ketoglutarate, it would be glutamate dehydrogenase.
Exactly.
And you
So
would need
then it's going the other direction, alpha-ketoglutarate, or is it
It's still glutamate dehydrogenase. They thankfully name the enzyme once in this case.
one direction?
Yeah, they name it for one direction. It's the same name both directions.
And I memorized H to make glutamate, so you would need NADH to make the glutamate. But if you're going opposite way, you don't need the H, it would be NAD.
And that's a really good rule of thumb that you bring up. If you're ever building bigger, more energy expensive molecule, you are probably going to be taking the hydrogen off of the NADH, which is spending energy, because NADH is worth 2.7, roughly 3 ATP. And so you're going to be spending ATP to build a molecule. That just makes sense. You're not going to get energy from building a molecule most of the time. And so if you're ever like, which way is it going? I don't remember. Well, which way is building? Are you going in the building direction? It's probably going to cost energy and therefore use up an NADH into an NAD. If you're breaking down, it will probably go the other way. I don't think she normally asks that.
She was asking reduction and oxidation.
Oh, okay.
And you reduce when you're using the H.
Yes, because
So
an
when you
H
make
is basically a free electron for the point of.
So when you're going from alkyl glutarate to glutamate,
It's a reduction.
it's a reduction. So you're going from NADH to NAD.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you cleave off the ammonia or the amine, you put in a hydrogen on its place, right? That's
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're replacing yeah.
Okay.
So you're replacing a nitrogen with a hydrogen when you bump it off, and then you're doing it in the reverse. And that's why it's called glutamate dehydrogenase. I said that kind of fast. I'll say that one more time because it's actually kind of helpful. So glutamate dehydrogenase, why is it called that? Glutamate to alpha-ketoglutarate, you're losing an ammonia group, a nitrogen. The way you're doing that is putting a hydrogen in its place. And so, there you go.
I was confused about something. I don't know, go ahead and
Yeah.
So I want to the other carbon
Yes. So, alright. So, carbon skeletons, you can see, so I'm showing the Tca cycle. Most of the intermediates of the Tca cycle will directly or eventually be the carbon skeleton of the amino acids. And so alpha-ketoglutarate, succinyl-CoA, fumarate, oxaloacetate, and
pyruvate.
pyruvate. Thanks.
So these are all carbon.
Yeah. Yep, you take off the nitrogen and then they look like that. It might take a couple steps to get there, so, but anyway, but we don't need to know that. That's right. All carbon skeletons will have no amino acids. That's why they're called skeletons. They've had the heart or the nitrogen taken out of it.
Yeah, it's separate, so it has this in front, and it has a ton. And then BRS, chapter 25.
You mean GNC?
I mean, GNG and BRS,
These
chapter 7.
I'm not going to do it. Exactly. Question.
That same thing, I was lost on the M3 ID bag in the diseases. I had like 231, but I had 3 things written under threonine, and I was confused. Like, I just want to remember those because I think the disease is important.
All right.
But I do
So,
know methionine makes SAM, which is a methyl donor. And you go from SAM to homocysteine and methionine. Yeah.
all right. So let's see. With M3IV,
I can like meet you if you have another time or something if you want. Like next week at all. Our time is on Wednesday.
let me see if I can.
Oh, Tuesday? Can I meet you sometime on Monday?
I don't have hours on Monday or Tuesday, and I know that that's when you need them for the thing. I will try to.
You send me an email.
The YouTube video should have it.
Oh, okay, your YouTube videos?
Yeah, if that's all right.
Okay.
And I'll-
Oh,